3, 2, 1, go.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul, Mr. Cleveland Waring, living in the city of Cleveland, in the state of Cleveland, in the United States of Cleveland. And where's our movie sign? We got movie sign! Where's Crow? We got movie sign. Okay. This episode is going to be a little more serious because shut up music.
Boy, way to get off to a serious start.
It's like this thing's freaking stubborn. My phone's made from Germany, I think. I don't know. But, yeah, today's episode is, that's why I'm kind of dressed in a sweater, because today's episode is called The Passion of Christ. Directed by Mel Gibson and starring Jim Caviezelli.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah. And this 2004 film is considered, not in one way, the best depiction of Jesus's final hours on earth around Good Friday. That's why we're doing it this week, because it's Holy Week. And it's in some ways it's also a controversial film because of how they show the Jewish people, the priests, high priests. So, and also a lot of blood and gore. And, like the flogging scene, I do cringe a couple times because of the cat of nine tails, which I'll get into later. So, the film starts with Jesus praying to his Father God in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Peter, James, and John wind up getting too tired and start falling asleep. And we then see Judas at the temple about to betray Jesus for 30 talents. And so the priests give Judas the talents. And and then we see Jesus, which is played by a woman, or Sinead O'Connor.
Jesus is played by a woman?
No, Satan.
Satan's played by a woman. You
Yeah.
only see Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope God doesn't strike me for that. But God will get you for that.
Okay, B. Arthur. Yeah, real
Okay,
serious.
so Satan is telling Jesus, it's no use. Just deal with it. Nobody likes you. And a snake comes out, and it sounds like what God said in the Garden of Eden. Strike his head with the snake, kind of thing, and so the Roman soldiers or the Israeli soldiers come to arrest Jesus, and Peter chops one of their ears off. No, his name's not Vincent, but Jesus heals the ear, and the soldier was like aghast, and so John runs away to tell. No, James runs to tell his mother that they've arrested Jesus, and so James tells his mother, Mary, that Jesus has been arrested, and so Jesus is at the Levi courthouse in the small hours of the morning, which is basically they have like somewhat of an illegal trial happening, and the Roman legionnaires wind up getting involved because of what happened. And we see a flashback where Jesus was doing his carpentry work. And this is kind of a little bit of a light side, that Jesus made a table for a rich man who likes to sit on higher chairs. And Mary said, That'll never catch on. And so, back at the temple, the rabbis and high priests accuse Jesus for being blasphemous. So, and one of the priests says, "Stop this," and he gets kicked out because that guy thinks it's unfair and unjust. Priests want Jesus to have a death sentence, so he's sentenced to death and is sent in the dungeon or basement. And Peter was informed that he would deny Jesus 3 times before the rooster crowed. So he flashed back to the Last Supper, where Jesus does say that to Peter. And Judas returns to the high priest to just return the 30 talents because he feels guilty of what he did. And then he fends off 2 boys, which are actually devils, because they turn into creepy old creatures and whatnot, and start fighting him and taunting him. They even taunt him all the way out of Jerusalem as the sun rises, and Judas sees a dead donkey with fly maggots all over, and he takes the rope and hangs himself because he for all the guilt he has done. And Claudia, and back at Pontius Pilate's palace, Claudia tells Pilate that Jesus is innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. In some ways, I kind of wonder what Pilate's opinion was. Did he, because since he probably was into Romanism, they probably thought he was some kind of a god that came from one of the mountains or something.
Yeah, it tends to be well documented in films that Pontius Pilate, because it's in the Bible too. He's like, really? Wait, you want to let the guy who Barabbas, the serial killer, go? Not Jesus, just because he said some stuff? Really? Mm-hmm. You sure?
Yeah. So we see Pontius Pilate question Jesus, and so Pilate and Herod, and one of the same Herod who killed the babies 30 years back when Jesus, Mary and Joseph fled to Egypt at the time, and then came back once that Herod died. But this Herod was like, he just made fun of him basically. He's saying like, he's just insane. These are the people, one of them looks like Eric Idle. And it's like,
are you sure that's not Life of Brian?
I'm certain. But so basically, Jesus returns to Pilate, and all the the Levite priests are up in arms, and so Pilate gives them Barabbas, and they say, should we free Barabbas or should we free Jesus? Give us Barabbas! Give us Barabbas! Give us Barabbas! And so Barabbas is set free, and then Pilate says, what should I do with Jesus then? Crucify him. That's what the angry mob said. It's more than just the priests, it's everyone in the town. So Pilate just is still hesitant, so he sends him to the torture area, where this is probably one of the most gruesome parts of the film, probably the most gruesome, even more so than the crucifixion, in my opinion, because first he gets flogged with switches, like the bamboos, whatever they is, and then soon the cat of nine tails, which they're called cat of nine tails because they have claws on them, and so basically he got flogged with. And Mother Mary starts to cry. Claudia gives Mary and Mary Magdalene as well some towels to sop up all the blood that was there. And another flashback came that during the Last Supper, Jesus said to them, hated me then, the world hates me now, and as of today, Jesus is still hated. I mentioned some places, but that's another subject altogether. So, after the flogging, a couple of the Roman legionnaires or centurions give Jesus a crown of thorns, a cape, a little stick, kind of like this, and they still laugh at him and spit some wine on his face and what have you. It's like, ha ha ha, you're the king of the Jews. Loser. But Mary Magdalene helps Mother Mary and remembers the time that Jesus saved her from stoning. Because if you are without sin, cast the first stone. And everyone dropped their stones. And why are there some rolling stones in there? But
well, if they like toss them on the ground and they're on an incline.
So now we see Jesus. So Jesus sent back to Pilate, and the angry mob still shouted, "Crucify him! Are you deaf or something?" And one of the guys says, "The Kaiser." Really, because of Caesar.
Oh, right.
And they called the Caesar the Kaiser. So it looks like that too. But so since the mob insisted that Jesus must be crucified, so Pilate says, I'm washing my hands over this. I am no part of this. And then we see Jesus washing the hands of the disciples, another flashback during the Last Supper. And I don't know if they had one with Peter, where it's like Peter's like, "Don't just wash my feet, wash my hands. Give me a bath. Just wash my whole body." And Jesus says, "No, the feet are fine." So Jesus is also crucified with two other prisoners and people who did wrong. And like you flash back 5 days ago when Jesus was greeted by palms and he was on the donkey that eventually died on the same day, Palm Sunday, which was last Sunday.
Wait, when does the donkey die? Because eventually everything dies.
I think between Palm Sunday and
Monday, between Thursday. Palm Sunday and Easter, huh?
Thursday.
Oh, jeez, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, because so you see Jesus walking to Jerusalem. Everyone's saying, "Wow, he's coming." It was like he was greeted, whatnot, and then now he's being booed and frowned upon and taunted, and so it's like the polar opposite. So James sees his mother, Mary, which is Jesus' half-brother as well, James. And Mary is crying, and she remembers the time when Jesus was a toddler and he was walking and he tripped. It's like Mary was comforting the toddler Jesus, and Pilate's looking at the crucifixion and he feels a little regretful. And even Mary helped Jesus or Mary Magdalene give Jesus some woman gave Jesus some water, and I think Mel Gibson got that from Ben-Hur.
You're right.
I think Mel Gibson took something from Ben-Hur. But Jesus was too tired to carry the cross, so somebody gets Simon of Cyrene, who in some ways kind of looks like Samuel Jackson a little bit, I don't know. But, Cyrene, Libya that's modern day Libya. So Simon of Cyrene is carrying Jesus' cross, and he says, "Stop all this if you're going to be all mean and nasty and whatnot. Otherwise, I won't do it." And so now we go to Golgotha, or Mount Calvary. So, and this is where we go to the intermission. I want to tell you that I encourage you and anyone and everyone to rent, buy, stream, or if it's on TV this week, watch The Passion of Christ.
It's on TV. It's going to be pretty heavily edited.
Well,
That's probably good, though.
right, but unless it's on Trinity Broadcasting Network. And, they're probably, I hear there's a JW version, Jehovah's Witness version.
What happens in that one?
Jesus just striking a pole. One tall pole.
Yeah, right.
But, no, it...
On a pole and not on a cross.
Right, but the thing is, then, the thing is, I know Mel Gibson had a problem with the Jewish people, but in some ways, I don't see that. I can see that everyone had their share of the pie.
It's a very difficult retelling of the story because remember that everyone was against Jesus at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is a bad person in the movie except for Jesus because he's the only good guy. Like literally, at the end, I shouldn't really let go.
Because like I said, I'm encouraging people to watch this.
Yeah, watch the whole thing.
And if you're very uncomfortable, get Jesus of Nazareth or Ben-Hur or any movie or just pick up the Bible because basically you only get the same story but without the gore.
Yeah.
So, but if you're liking the show, we're having a very special episode this weekend. It's a whole bracket thing.
It's not in the shot, but that's
I know.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be a March Madness of cartoon characters of the most bizarre moments they always get. So yeah, and Charlotte Brown's on there more than once. But the thing is, we also have tomorrow's episode, which I'm talking about a BNL album, the sophomore album.
Yeah, episode of the show, an album cover, and they're talking about bare naked ladies.
Maybe You Should Drive. And this Thursday, I finally found out my 16 favorite birds. One of them moves. And pretty soon we're going to have TV Caesar, which I talk about a TV show and
the history of it and why you enjoy it.
And pretty soon we'll be bringing back the Warner Brothers Sports Show.
Kind of want to do that this week.
Okay, because baseball season next week, and pretty soon the Odd, the Bland, the Spicy, and even later in the line, the Craptastic Movie Show, and Passion of Christ would not be a part of it, and because I think I could go to hell, but we did that one, and plus we don't. Plus it's not public domain. But and the other is I'm hoping for the Tap. So that's all on the Warner Brothers Broadcasting Network, WBBN. So click subscribe to us, like us. Actually, my job coach and Canarsie actually like these shows. So shout out to them and get notificated. Click that bell, and that's our intermission. So so now we have Jesus at Mount Calvary, another flashback with the Sermon on the Mount, that love one another, and Jesus mentions his destination, his purpose in why he's here. Excuse me. And then Jesus gets stripped to his underpants. So, and then we see him get nailed on a cross, getting supposedly his arm pulled off. And we see Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and James arrive at the crucifixion. So, also another flashback to the Last Supper with the bread and wine. Take this bread, it's my body, and take this wine, this is my blood. And after Jesus' death and return to heaven, many people thought Christians were cannibals. I'm not making that out. So the next 6 hours, Jesus is alongside with the other 2 condemned people. One is like real sadistic. Says, "Hey, if you're Jesus, why can't you get yourself off that cross?" Then the other guy is like, "Jesus, look, we both, him and I, actually have done wrong. You didn't. Could you please forgive me?" And Jesus says, "Today you'll be in paradise," meaning you'll be in heaven tomorrow. Today. So, yeah, and
You'll be in heaven today.
oh, but the one who was actually really mean was he got his raven pecked his eye out. Didn't Mel Gibson watch the Sean Combs video, "Hate Me Now"? Because there was a crow on that. And actually, Sean Combs was very angry about that video. Because he too's Catholic. As well as Aaron Neville. I'm surprised those 2 didn't do a song together. That'd be good, interesting. Like do a mass song, like Aaron Neville's doing.
Actually, I can see Aaron Neville and Sean P. Diddy Combs doing a song together. That would have been all right.
Yeah, so 3 hours later, the sky gets dark, and one of the centurions was like, "Surely he is a son of God." Oh wait, that was a bad version of the film.
Which version was that? Is John Wayne plays the
Centurion? Greatest story ever told.
That's in the greatest story ever told.
So the thing was, the 2 prisoners got their legs broken because they didn't want anyone to stay up there over the weekend, because back then, when people were crucified, they could be up there for days. And one of the centurions tries to break Jesus' arms, legs. One of his arms was broken, probably, I don't know. But it's like, "I think he's dead. Well, make sure." And then they pierce.
Yeah, they pierce the side, yeah.
Which I think is just a plastic dummy. And then also one of the centurions are gambling on Jesus's clothes.
All right, when they're casting lots.
Yeah.
There's a few centurions there, right?
Yep. And Mary kisses Jesus' feet, and beforehand Jesus said, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
That's the most important part, because that's what I'm saying, where there really aren't any good guys in this, because even technically the 3 people, was it Mary Magdalene and Mary, his mother, wait for him?
Yes.
Outside of those 2 people, even at the point when Jesus is about to die, he shouts out, my God, why, my Father," right? He says, "My Father."
Eloi.
Yeah, Eloi. Why have you forsaken me? Even his own dad is let him die. That's my point. That was the point I was kind of making during the intervention.
Yes, and King David said that too.
Yeah.
And he was a guy who had a lot of doubts, but he was a guy who always returned to God.
Right. Well, he's also one heck of a sinner too.
Right, Bathsheba. Yeah. And also after Jesus said, I'm thirsty, the centurions give him some wine and vinegar mix, and they said,
a sponge, right?
"Yep, it is finished."
Yep.
And he gives his soul to God, and then you see rain starts to fall and a big earthquake happens. So, and again, the whole breaking the legs happened. Then the piercing. I know I jumped the gun a little bit. And then we see the temple split in half, and in the pit of hell, Satan's like, "No!" I know that's.
Is that exactly what happens in the movie?
Or well, not really.
Oh, okay.
But I could just hear Billy Corgan, Satan saying no.
Okay.
But and then we get the Pieta, which we have the statue up there. It's not in there, but where Mary is holding Jesus.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the dead Jesus. Yeah. Our grandmother had that too, and then even though we were Lutheran, we had some little touch of Catholic stuff.
Yeah, there's some of the similarities, right?
And I'm going to be working at a Catholic cafeteria, so. But it was almost like 33 years ago. She was holding Jesus like this.
Oh, when he was a baby. Ah,
Yeah,
so that's
and now
why that was
Mary
done.
is
foreshadowing.
yes.
It's the payoff.
Mm-hmm. But you think the movie ended? But on the third day, the stone rolls out, and we see Jesus, and like the cloth, the shroud, or
Right, what eventually becomes a Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, fades, and then we see Jesus. They're ready for Easter, and then he saw his shadow and the stop out. That's
And there were 6 more weeks.
But no. Then happy Easter. He is risen indeed. And there was like holes on his hand, which would later be, which would inform that his mission was almost complete. So, and then we actually get the title at the end, not at the beginning. It's one of those few films that does that. And this is my favorite Bible-themed film of all time. Even though there's some other good ones. I mentioned the 2 others. But, yeah. Again, this is a great concept of Jesus's birth, death, and resurrection. And this was and many people saw it. It was the highest grossing film of all time for 15 years. Then Star Wars, one of the Star Wars actually took that, stole the thunder.
Yeah.
I'm a Star Trek guy, so that is it. But here but there's wow. I just hope God doesn't get us for that. I don't know. Y'all, help me. I'm also over. Goodbye. But yeah, next week it's a movie that was later named after an R. Kelly album.
Wait, it was a movie that later R. Kelly named an album after it?
Yes.
There's a movie called Trapped in the Closet?
No.
There's a movie called Ignition? Wait, was that an album or was
No,
that
that
a
was a
single
song.
off of it?
But close.
How is that close?
Because it was on there.
Oh, because that was a song on that album?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Songs in the Key of Life? No.
No, that's Stevie Wonder.
Oh, yeah. The big difference between Stevie Wonder
Right.
and R. Kelly. If Stevie Wonder peed on a kid, it would have been on accident. He's blind. Oh, what? I thought I was in the bathroom. R. Kelly, he did that on purpose.
Yeah, but no, that's okay. I'll give you another hint. Marilyn Manson used some of the concepts from the movie, and he wanted to be in the remake of it.
Oh, Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
I didn't. Why couldn't I remember R. Kelly had an album called Chocolate
Yeah,
Factory?
I did. But
Marilyn Manson was gonna be in it,
and he had this, like, he used the hat. Smells like children. Tastes like grandma.
That's a line in one of his songs.
No, I made that. No, that's from Josephine Spector.
Okay.
Tastes like grandma.
Oh, that's weird.
I know Josephine Baker is weird. I mean, no, not Josephine. Josephine Spector is weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that guy's the person who played the cowbell in Marilyn Manson's.
Oh, that's a woman.
No. It was a guy named
Josephine Spector.
Yes.
I understand now.
Okay. But yeah, it's and it stars the guy who was in many Mel Brooks films.
So you're gonna do the original Charlie.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that's what it's called. Yeah, Willy Wonka.
You get nothing. And it works well because Easter would end, and
And you got all that candy still around.
right, smells candy, and Augustus falls in some rancid milk chocolate.
There's geese.
Yeah, they tried squirrels, but it didn't work that well.
The squirrel's what it is in the book. That's okay.
But it was hard to do. That's why they switched to geese.
That makes sense actually.
And it was the same guy who directed Roots, as well as Welcome Back, Kotter.
Wait, he was a director on the TV show Welcome Back, Kotter?
David Wolper.
Okay. He directed Roots? The miniseries?
A producer, something. Producer directed.
Maybe one of the greatest miniseries of all time?
Yeah.
Jeez, all right.
With the Green Rainbow guy, LeVar Burton.
Yeah, and LeVar Burton also.
But we will see you next Tuesday for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it'll be a little bit of a lighter side. I'm Paul Mr. Warren.